release dinosaurs into the aviary, lower the monorail tracks to any heights, and create functional tour bridges. In spite of all the incredible new creative tools that Jurassic World Evolution 3 has, you can't do these 3 things without getting creative with glitches. In this video, I will show you how. If you remember these glitches from the previous game, don't skip this video, because the steps are different and I have tips to make them work even better with the new tools. The aviary glitch is really awesome because you can create some really high security type of habitats with this, or specifically with the glass aviary, you can just create an entirely different type of biome within your desert park, right? So that's why this trick is so fun. So how do you actually do this? Well, first of all, you need an aviary, you need an aviary hatchery, you need a regular hatchery, and of course, to make it all work, you need an entrance building. So there, all the pieces are into play now. Let's get it all connected. So how this used to work in Jurassic World Evolution 2 was you went into the aviary and you went to the filter and you set the filter to new. As you can see, there is no filter for new. So that stumped me for a little bit. How do I empty this out? How do I get the glitch to work the way it did? Well, after some messing about, I figured it out. So these are the steps for getting dinosaurs into your aviary. You want to go to the normal land hatchery, synthesize a dinosaur, and we're gonna look up a dinosaur. And, I like Acrocanthosaurus, so let's do Acrocanthosaurus. Now you might think, Evo, it's right there.
Hello?
No, it is key that you type out the name, so Acrocanthosaurus. There, so we have that selected now, our chonky boy. We're gonna exit the hatchery, and we're gonna move to the aviary hatchery, synthesize dinosaur. It has emptied out, there's no flying reptiles here. Because as you can see, the search function still said Acrocanthosaurus, and now it also says here Acrocanthosaurus, and we can begin the task. If you wanna modify the genome, you have to do that here. So let's modify the genome and make it purple. All right, so we've modified it. Let's go back to this one, synthesize dinosaur. You don't do it in here, do it in the actual normal hatchery. Otherwise, if you do it here, you're gonna mess it up. So make sure your dinosaur is modified to your specifications in the land hatchery, okay? If you try modifying the genome in the aviary hatchery, you won't get the skin previews, and then afterwards, you cannot proceed with incubation anymore. So, we're gonna begin the task, and here you can see an Acrocanthosaurus is synthesizing in the aviary hatchery. And if we speed that up, there, select the eggs. Here we have our purple Acrocanthosaurus. Let's make it a male. Begin incubation, and now, again, it is incubating inside the aviary hatchery.
Incubation complete. Prepare asset for release.
Incubation complete, so we can release the Acrocanthosaurus. Now, obviously, this looks a little weird because it's not meant for that. But here we have the Acrocanthosaurus inside an aviary. And what's different, you might have noticed it if you're used to using this glitch in Jurassic World Evolution 2, you might remember that the dinosaurs can't make any noise inside the glass aviary. Well, they can now. It even roars. I am 100% convinced that Frontier added this as a little Easter egg because, again, it works differently from how it worked before. So I feel like they purposefully put this in for people to discover. All right, I want to show you one more time, really slowly, to make sure that you got it down. So, land hatchery, synthesize dinosaur, look up the dinosaur that you want, and you want to make sure that it's the only dinosaur left in this screen. It has to be just one tile, one dinosaur. If you want to edit it, edit it in here. Let's make the buck. Save and exit. Leave it just like that. Exit the land hatchery. Go to the aviary hatchery. Synthesize dinosaur. There's the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Don't mess with the genomes here. Just begin the task. And there it is. Next up is the Monorail glitch, which works mostly the same as it did in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but I have some really important tips to make it even better. So, let's get started. The first tip I have for you is to make the Monorail glitch one of the first steps in your entire park build, because it's just way easier to build your park around it than to try to finagle this into an existing park, because it is quite step heavy. Now, the first step is to dig a trench, and the lower your trench is going to be, the lower your monorail track is going to be. So the closer is going to sit to the ground, to like terrain level. So I might have dug it a little bit too deep looking at it, but let me just stick with this depth. And let's start with the second step, which is to place our first monorail station. So I've placed my station. There she is. And now we're going to attach a monorail track. And I'm going to stretch it out as far as possible, but only one length of track. That's really important. One length. And then we're going to grab another station and we're going to attach it. This is the start to the monorail glitch. The next step, which is very important for feedback, is to bring up like a little bit of a bump under the track. And I'll explain later why this is important. Next up, we're gonna add more monorail track. And you want to keep this either straight or ever so slightly curved. You know, something like that maybe. You don't want to add a full curve to it. It's not gonna work. So yeah, keep it straight or slightly curved. I'm just gonna place it all the way to the end. And there it is. I'm gonna go back. And now we're gonna start moving this monorail station. So to move it, you click on it, you go to settings here, and you move it. And if I move it along the track, further, there is a bump. Now that's what I meant with the importance of the little mound and the feedback that it gives. Because the terrain is raised, the monorail wants to raise as well, but we don't want that. So you want to pull the monorail back just enough, just so the track is straight. Keep an eye on that. And that's where you're going to place it. And this is how you're going to keep repeating this step. So you're going to grab the monorail station, you're going to move it down the track. It's going to give some resistance, it's going to move slower. And that happens right before the bump happens. So you pull it back until it's straight again. You place your monorail station. Rinse and repeat. We're dragging it. And this is important. At some point, it's going to say obstructed by monorail station, but it's obstructed by the previous monorail station. You want to pull it back until you can place it. And then you're going to want to move this one. You want to place a little bit more track on the other side. Grab the station, move it, and move it the other way. Add that bit of track, move your station. You know what, we might as well move it this way. Mind the bump, don't do the bump. We're gonna place it right there. And now, if we go back to this guy, we'll be able to move it again. There it is. We're gonna move it. And I'm no longer seeing the bump. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get that feedback. So let me just, there. Do that, and you can see that I dug down a little bit too far, but that's okay. So this is definitely going to give us a good bump. I'm going to move it. Pull it along. There it is. And again, this is a rinse and repeat situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it all the way across to the other end of the map. And it is so, so, so important that you never place it with the bump. If you do that, everything you've done is ruined. Don't do it. Make sure the track is straight. So you got to keep paying attention when you do this. All right, I'm at the end of the track now. I'm just going to get rid of that little bit right there. And we can get more distance out of this one. We can move this one a little bit further. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add more track here. Really just want to optimize the distance so we can get the most out of this. So we're going to move it. Again, be so mindful of that bump. You do not want to ruin everything you've just done. All right, I'd say that's good enough. Let's get rid of the little end here. Now, if we grab our terrain tools, you can see the effect we've created, right? So again, I was a little off. So I want more like that. I do still want to see the track. Just for effect, I'm cheating. And this just creates a really cool effect of the monorail track on the ground, like a normal train track. What you can also do, and again, this depends on how deep you dig your trench. If you don't make the trench as deep, let's say your trench was at this depth, you've created monorail tracks at this height. You can see the different types of effects you can create, and I think it's really cool. It was one of my favorite glitches in Jurassic World Evolution 2, and I think there's still a place for it in Jurassic World Evolution 3 as well. All right, so now a very valid question is, what are we gonna do with this situation? Well, this is where the improvements come in. In Jurassic World Evolution 2, we were just sort of stuck with this. But let's start with a Hyperloop station and place that right next to our entry to the monorail. And let's connect those two. Now, the reason I'm adding the Hyperloop station and I'm not just taking up the path is because you can't. The terrain is going to be too steep, so we don't want to do that. We just want our Hyperloop station. And now we're going to bury... Well, not bury, but we're going to surround it with terrain to the best of our ability. And there is some limitation here in the slopes. Here, you can see my slope is at the max. But it's still a little gentle around the actual building. That's okay, no worries, because what we can do is we can grab rocks and we can hide all that. So I do still want to see the station itself. But I'm just gonna hide all of that. Now, I'm not being super neat with it, forgive me, this is just for showcase purposes. You could fully hide this, you know, you can do with this whatever you want. I'm going to leave it like this for now for the purpose of demonstration. And I've put this thing off to the side. This is our makeshift new station. And this is just a slightly adjusted standard blueprint in the game. And I'm going to turn that into our new station. Oh. Let me get it down to ground level. There, I'm going to grab another Hyperloop station. And I've just clipped it into that, again, to create the illusion that this is our new station. I'm going to connect it like that. And now, to make it all work, I want to add an entrance building. So this is my arrival point.
Attention personnel.
Going to connect that up. There you go. And we're going to repeat this on the other side. And I'm going to add my makeshift train station. Oh, here comes the train. Here we go. I know, but I think that looks so much cooler than the super tall monorail tracks, and that's why I love this glitch. And now it adds to the transport rating because the train just functions as usual. It connects this end of the park with this far end of the park. One of my biggest wants for Jurassic World Evolution 3 were bridges. Well, I did literally spend my first day in the game building some bridges. Unfortunately, they don't actually work. However, with this glitch, we can make a functional bridge for the tour vehicles. Allow me to show you how to do that. So this works the same as it did in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but in case you didn't know about this trick, I'm going to show you. So we grab our tour vehicle and we're going to line it up with the tour track. And we want to make sure that it is dead center on the track right there. All right, there we go. And now we're going to run this all the way along the monorail track. Oh, it's a little bit too steep, I think. There he is. All right. Oh, we're a little off. Now, obviously, what's a shame is that placing the tour track gets rid of the pillars, but with modular building, we can build our own pillars. So let's grab a column. I'll try to color match it to the monorail track. And obviously, you know, you can make this as fancy as you want to make it. For the purpose of this video, I'm just keeping it really simple. But yeah, you can make some really beautiful pillars under this bridge. You can also spruce up the bridge quite a bit. There's so much you can do. Like, yeah, we still need the glitches to do stuff like this, but the new tools of the game do add a lot to it. There, so I just added like a really simple banister to it, an expansion of it, but you can see how with modular building, you can really make a really nice bridge out of this. And there goes the tour vehicle. But how cool is that? To have like an elevated tour going through your habitat and you can actually turn it into a really nice looking bridge. All right, so there's actually something I want to check. As I said, I have been building bridges during my first day in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Yes, it is literally the first thing that I did. I want to see if I can just place a bridge on top of this thing right here. So I'm gonna go to my blueprints. I have some bridges here. Let's pick this one. We're gonna have it just so it covers the track. All right, so that's one of the bridges that I built. That's kind of cool. Let's duplicate it, make it a little bit bigger. All right, and now I just want to bring up the terrain. You can see the monorail track a little bit under the bridge because obviously I didn't design this bridge for this purpose, but it works so well. This is so cool. By the way, if you want this bridge or some of the other bridges that I built, you can find those in the workshop right now. And I highly recommend that you combine them with this glitch for this effect. I think this is an excellent example of how glitches and the in-game tools can work together to make something extra awesome. And that's why I wanted to do this video right away. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like so it can reach more park builders, and subscribe for more tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.